All right, so I'm going to get the recording started here and just wait just a couple of minutes for people to trickle in. Last Monday, or excuse me, last month we had people come in between 6:05 and 6:10. So I want to be mindful of everyone's time, of course. So we will promptly start. Hi, Diane, she's joining us. Great. For everyone that's tuning in here, we got about 3 people. So excited. I can't see your faces. I can see Diane's face. Hi, Diane. Very excited that everyone could join us. My name is Wendi Earlbeck. I'm a registered dietitian. Obviously, you know that because you follow me on social media or someone shared this, but for those that may be getting this recording because they purchased it for a friend or a family member or someone else that's struggling in the kitchen, just know that I'm a registered dietitian. I'm super passionate about athletes, adults, and just getting people the most evidence-based information. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk to you about meal prep tonight. And I like to keep it super informal. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and ask those as we go through. I'm going to share my screen in a minute here, and it's going to be a presentation. And again, it is a recording. So I'll share the recording out with all of the attendees after. And the questions, like I mentioned, feel free to stop me at any point in time if you have a question, and we can all learn together. Does anyone have any questions before we get started? Okay, and I was saying at the beginning, if everyone wants to just mute while they're watching or listening, just so we don't have background noise, that's great for everybody. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and get my presentation started and my screen shared. So again, grateful for everybody who's joining us tonight and for those that are going to be watching later. Can everyone see my screen okay? Awesome. All right. So I'm going to hide this little dialogue. So if you guys have questions, feel free to just, feel free to just like pop off your mic and then say something. So I won't be able to see any of the questions coming through as I have my presentation up. So meal prep on a budget, let's go ahead and get into it. I am going to give you some practical tips that are going to help you be effective and save time and money. So obviously right now, inflation, things are very, very expensive, and it's really difficult too and frustrating when you go to the grocery store right now and the fact that things are not there. So oftentimes we're finding that maybe even ordering is a good way to save time, because if you're driving all around and gas is expensive too, and you don't even know if that item is there, I have been recommending to a lot of my clients right now to do the Instacart or Shipt app, because although they're spending a little bit more time, money with the fee of ordering, they're also saving time and additional gas driving all over town to go to the grocery store that, you know, offers what their needs are, the yogurt, the meats, vegetables. There's been just a ton of stores right now that have had food shortages. So that's something to look into as well. So anyway, I am going to give you some practical steps. The first and most important part of meal prep and budgeting both your time and the foods is taking inventory of your kitchen, knowing what you even have in your pantry so that you know what you need. So it's really important that you take a look in your fridge and you say, all right, what produce items do I need? What vegetables, what fruits? Take a look at your freezer. I always recommend for every single client, every single person I work with, and in between, that you need to have items in your freezer just in case something happens, you know, some sort of natural disaster. That's, you know, where your frozen vegetables, your canned goods, you have those things on hand. But frozen fruits and vegetables are also lower cost. They actually lock in the nutrient value more than fresh, because when they're frozen, they're not being exposed to light, heat, and oxygen, which they are in the store. So that's why I think the inventory component and making a list is really important, and just knowing what you need. And I'm going to offer you to, again, a grocery list of budget-friendly items that should go on that list. So before I go to that other side I skipped over, here are low-cost items that I still continue to see are at a very low cost regardless of inflation. Your basic bananas, apples, pears, grapes. You know, a lot of the raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, the fresh are very expensive. But if you actually look at coupons for some of your favorite stores, you can get those items on sale, or you can purchase the frozen and they're actually much cheaper. So stores like Aldi, Walmart are very actually fantastic stores. I don't know why people, rip on Aldi or Walmart, but they're fantastic ways to save money. And they always have frozen and fresh produce available. Cucumbers, green peppers, bell peppers of any color tend to be very low cost onions. And those really make great dishes that you can chop up all those vegetables. And we'll talk about strategies, how to do that. But you can chop all those items up and add a portion into each of a salad or a saute skillet, or if you're doing some sort of egg bake, which I have a recipe for you that could also serve as a quick grab and go breakfast. Those items are very nutrient dense and they're very low cost, and a little bit goes a long way. So I do really encourage you to take a look at what's on sale and just kind of weigh out your options on fresh versus frozen. Tomatoes, of course, are carbohydrates, good high quality whole grains, right? We can do, bagels, tortillas, pitas. Those can really be a really great vehicle to make a quick, healthy snack or, even a meal on the go. So if you're doing like a grilled cheese sandwich, which I have a really tasty recipe where you can add some avocado and some veggies to it and make it super healthy. But definitely, I encourage whole grains because they're very low cost. And again, if you're having a portion of a whole grain wrap, you're going to not only get some vitamins, you're getting iron, you're getting folate, you're also getting some fiber, and you can put some deli turkey on that. You can do cheese, you can do peanut butter, you can slice up some of the low cost bananas. It can make a really simple, healthy snack or meal. And then obviously our proteins, you really want to purchase in bulk, especially your string cheeses, eggs. You can get a very, either 12 or 2 dozen eggs at Costco, at Aldi, at any grocery store. Eggs are still going to be the lowest cost, highest biological value of protein. Although they're going up, they're about $1 more than they were last year, which is pretty profound, but they're still going to offer you, again, 6 grams of high quality protein, depending upon the size of the egg, but it's a high biological value, meaning it has a greater amount of leucine, and it's still lower cost in comparison to your meats. So you can do the rotisserie chicken, you can also do tuna packets, deli turkey, tubs of cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is an awesome protein source and it's a great snack. So I highly encourage buying those things in bulk so that you can portion everything out, especially your rotisserie chickens. I mean, you can get a couple of rotisserie chickens and you can portion those out and add those to salads, sandwiches, wraps. You can put them in soups. So let me back up real quick. So these are kind of the fundamentals of meal planning, meal prep. Is we talked about auditing, taking inventory of what's in your home. And then you want to make that list. We talked about the healthy options to get on the list, also things that you can buy in bulk. And we want to make that list and we want to plan out when we're going to go to the grocery store, know our schedule so that we can go to the grocery store one day or have the food items picked out, delivered to our home, if that's something you're interested in. And then knowing when we're going to go and chop up and assemble and create these great meals, which we will talk about now. But I highly recommend that because otherwise people think, I have to meal prep all day on a Sunday. And I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of free time. And I want to spend my Sunday relaxing, not spending 8 hours in the kitchen, washing dishes, portioning things out. So we're going to talk about some of the staple things that you'll need to have in your home to actually do this, massive meal prep, which these are healthy carts, both mine and some of my families I work with, lots of produce, lots of color, things on sale. Some of those individual yogurt containers, I point those out because sometimes those are 86 cents. If you go to Walmart, they can be 86 cents. Otherwise, they're like $1.50 at Target. So you got to take a look at grocery stores and shop around. But I do recommend on the left here, I have my Kirkland Greek yogurt, buying that in bulk. That's going to save you more money than buying the individualized containers. But if you're on the go a lot, these individualized containers can save you a little bit of time. But I prefer and recommend assembling all the Greek yogurt parfaits in advance. That's a huge part of meal prep, is having those staple snack items that serve you. And just again, comparing, contrasting carts, the chicken in bulk here too, this is from Costco. You can get a bunch of chicken breasts for very cheap. Obviously we have our bananas, peanut butter, almond butter, nut butters in bulk. Also same thing, you buy those things in containers and you can portion them out into little snack containers that you can, dip vegetables in. So you have your peanut butter, your celery, your carrots, or your diced bell peppers, which again, green peppers are so inexpensive. They are the lowest cost pepper of all the peppers, but they're so nutrient dense. So check your supermarket for any deals, and again, shopping around is really important. I do recommend the best grocery stores to save money is going to be Aldi, Walmart, and oftentimes Publix or Kroger if you get things on sale, the buy one, get one. And then, buying produce too. So for example, on the slide here, that, the raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, I actually bought the ones that were on sale because they were about to go bad. And then I put them either in a glass container and eat them up right away because I'm also serving out to some local people here in the community because I'm going to use it up right away. And if you have a family, you're going to go through it like that. Or you can put it in a gallon Ziploc freezer bag and freeze it, and then it won't go bad. And that's a really great way to cut down on food waste as well. And you can also do that with bananas. You can peel them and throw them in the freezer for smoothies. And that's something I recommend as well. So here are some items. And if you buy again in bulk, you can save money. And coupons. I get coupons for like some of the Kodiak cake stuff from Meyer. If you're in that area, I used to live in Michigan. So I have a bunch of things in bulk, but stock up when you see that things are on sale and you know that you're going to go through that item, buy it because you're going to need it. And it's a staple item. I always tell people, right, a routine structure supports success. So have staple items that are going to serve you. So your chicken, what type of vegetables do you really like eating? It's recommended that we eat 2 to 3 servings of veggies per day. What are your favorites? And just, stocking up on those and getting into a habit, it's going to cut down on that meal prep time because you have had time in the saddle. You know exactly how to chop, what to put together for meals and snacks because you're acclimated with it and it becomes very minimal as far as a time requirement. So I just talked about all of this. Again, structure supports success. Routine is really important. So here are some just quick options for you that we're going to quick talk through. And I want to be mindful of time because I want to have Q&A session after for you guys. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you can use those items and, meal snacks interchangeably. So for example, a peanut butter toast egg sandwich, that can be a fantastic breakfast, but it can also be a dinner. It can also be a snack, depending upon the portions. So there are no arbitrary rules. I'm a huge proponent of recommending people mix and match. And if you really like breakfast items for dinner, then eat them for dinner. Whatever helps you be successful with your meal prep and getting your meals in, right? Because when we skip meals and we don't have things prepared, we tend to make poor decisions or we don't eat and then we get really hangry and then we have low energy and then we end up overeating at our next meal or we go make a bad decision. So that's why I'm always recommending that people, if it's in your cart, it's going to go in your mouth. So make sure that it's something that supports the future you're trying to create. And balance is obviously important, but we really just want to think about, what are our goals? If we're a busy family, like most people are that are on this call too, how are we going to make sure that we have enough protein, enough fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and these are some ideas too, the oatmeal packets or buying the oatmeal in bulk. You don't have to buy Kodiak cakes. They are a little bit more expensive, but if you get them on sale, they offer a little bit more protein. But the Quaker oatmeal, those steel cut oats are perfectly fine. So those are very great as far as an option as well. You always want to choose the whole grain. Yogurt and fruit here, should be a staple snack because it's offering protein, it's also offering you some calcium and vitamin D. But you can put those things together for, a breakfast that's grab and go. You can also use that into a smoothie. You can also, do the egg bagel sandwich. You can also take tuna packets that are very low cost, 86 cents. They were also on that budget side. And you can just grab those items and go with you. But I just list out these real quick because a lot of times we forget about some of these items, like the fact that, salads, if we make a salad bar out of our fridge, right, we can just assemble something into a plastic container and go, or we obviously can prepare it in advance. But I do recommend having a lot of options, which is why I'm kind of throwing a lot at you because I want you to feel equipped and I don't want you to feel boxed in. So there's nothing worse than not having options. So pictures obviously kind of help paint the picture. So these are staples that both myself and my clients find super helpful. So top right-hand corner, this is a fundamental, I think for everybody, I would highly recommend it, is some form of protein overnight oats. And here, this is peanut butter we have a little bit of honey, there's some flaxseed, chia seed, protein powder, and the oatmeal. So there's 4 of these. So if you are a mom, you're a dad, you are an athlete, anyone, you know you're going to be eating oatmeal a couple of times a week. It'd be best that if you made those meals, those snack items in advance. So you can get mason jars and portion out those items in advance, and then you just grab it and go. I could make, a couple of these on a Saturday, and then they'll last me throughout the week. And what's amazing about these, right, is that they do not require refrigeration, and you can actually just add yogurt or you can add milk to them and you're out the door. But I do recommend mason jars as one of those clutch staple items, along with a large skillet, which I have listed here. These are, items to have when you're cooking in bulk. A crock pot, because you can just set it and forget it, which you see here in the top left-hand corner is just a turkey taco. There's a bunch of veggies in there. You can do a crock pot meal, and there's tons of crock pot meals out there. I have some on my website if you want to check them out. The recipes I have, the pictures rather illustrating those recipes, are on the website, so you can take a look at those. But crock pots are a very good investment, because you literally can, again, throw all of the vegetables that we talked about, your meat in there, and set it and forget it. 4 hours, you can go work. A lot of us work from home now. You can go do something around the house. You can be effective where you're not waiting around. That's probably the biggest mistake I see with people in meal prep, is they aren't multitasking well. They're not utilizing their time well. So if you put all this stuff together, you set it and you forget it, and then you can go do something else. You can make the egg bake. You could make some of these protein peanut butter energy bites that I have too. And these are great snack items. I mean, you portion out, you make 60 of these, you would have, a couple of these to take with you every single day for a month. These also are great in the freezer. And then the skillet pan here, a large skillet. I would recommend having, multiple skillets, but one large skillet is fine, because then you can do a skillet of vegetables. So I have zucchini, there's squash, asparagus, you can throw spinach in, onions. And again, the, squash and zucchini, very low cost vegetables, but very nutrient dense. And then the egg bake. I actually have a recipe that's probably one of the most popular recipes I've ever created, because you can take, the egg bake, and you can cut it into portions, and you have a grab and go breakfast. You have a grab and go snack that meets all of your needs, because there's actually bread in it. So there's a bunch of veggies, there's eggs, there's milk, there's bread in it. So it's a really great staple. So here's the egg bake recipe. It's on my website, it's on my social media. This is everybody's favorite, I've been told, because it saves time. You make it once and you make a couple batches, for the week, and your whole family is situated. And eggs, again, are very low cost. So super great recipe. You don't have to use Ezekiel bread. You can use any type of bread that you want. You can swap any of the ingredients and, just enjoy it, because it's simple and it's grab and go. Mason jar oat recipes. I just want to get into a little bit more detail with these, because obviously you see what I had in there, and I think context is important. So depending upon if I have a client that is a weight loss focus, so maybe they don't want to have as much sugar or carbohydrate, we can do the Greek yogurt, we can do some powdered peanut butter, we can do a little bit of chia seed, and we can do some oatmeal. So I work with so many people, and I know so many people follow me. So that's why I say context is key. If you have greater energy needs, if you're an athlete, I highly recommend adding in additional nuts and seeds, adding in honey, adding in more oats. But if you're more of a weight management or even weight loss, I would recommend, really focusing on the Greek yogurt, the fruit, the, either 1 tablespoon of nut butter or a serving of the powdered PB2, and just really looking at it from a, macronutrient standpoint. Is this going to be a snack or a meal? If it's 600 calories, like some of these here, because they have the maple syrup and honey, that's probably not ideal for a lot of us, because, if we're sitting at a desk all day, it'd be better if we just did, the fruit, the oatmeal, and then the chia seeds or nuts. But here are some ideas for you. Again, very simple. And if you assemble, getting mason jars, you assemble 6 of these, you have awesome snack or breakfast, or even pre-workout on the go. A lot of us are active and we want to work out too. So highly recommend either a Instapot, or you can cook, you know, your quinoa, brown rice, old school, however you wish. I have a lot of people that really like Instapot, so that's a good investment as well, because you can batch cook a lot of oatmeal, quinoa, brown rice. And again, that's stuff that you can portion into your salads with the rotisserie chicken, with burgers, with deli turkey, with the vegetables that we talked about. It's really hard to hit everything in once, but these simple key takeaways with, you know, the batch cooking are something that, you know, maybe you're already doing, but you're a little bit uncertain, or, you know, unsure of if it's the right thing to do for your goal. So that's obviously a question too we can talk about offline, but I just want to give you guys lots of ideas and lots of tips. So just a little bit more on the batch cooking and what that really is. It's mass meal prep. And I feel like meal prep is kind of a buzzword. So we're not talking about the bro science of like meat, vegetables, and rice. We're talking about batch cooking in which we're creating, for example, I have turkey tacos on the screen. Turkey tacos, this is batch cooking, where this could feed a family of 12 because I purchased everything in bulk. I mean, we have the salsa, multiple cans of beans, the bell peppers, the onions, the mushrooms, the asparagus, the turkey, the spinach. And this is legit bulk cooking because this can be assimilated into multiple meals for the week for multiple family members. If we're not sitting down as a family, which most of us aren't anymore, we can get out our meal prep containers and we can portion out, and everybody has a serving of the turkey tacos, which you saw on one of the previous screens. Or we can also freeze this in a plastic container. So here's a close-up of it. You can prepare that in the crock pot. You can do the skillet. You can do any type of prep with this if you wish. And again, you don't have to, you know, use turkey. You can use beef, you can use shrimp, you can also even use some salmon. Sheet pan recipes are also really good too. I have a chicken vegetable sheet pan recipe because you can literally chop up all your vegetables while maybe your Instapot, or maybe you have your crock pot on. You can also do your, you know, your massive veggie prep or wash dishes while that's cooking. Just thinking in terms of, right, how do we utilize our time really well? But sheet pan recipes are a really great way to cut down on dishes, but then also time, because you can cook both your veggies and your protein source at the same time, and using some olive oil. Olive oil, highly recommend that, or avocado oil. Those are my two favorite oils. Unsaturated fats. Fat adds flavor. Obviously, fat is important. We need it for hormone regulation. So if you have more questions about fat, I'd be happy to answer those too. So a little bit more on batch cooking. So hard-boiled eggs, those are also very low cost. You can cook up a bunch of hard-boiled eggs, or you can buy them pre-hard-boiled. For some people, that's a good option because for them, it takes way longer to cook them. And they're not actually as expensive as what most people think. If you go to Aldi, you can get a half dozen hard-boiled eggs for a pretty cheap price. And if you know that you're packing a cooler, that will also save you a little bit of time as well. I highly recommend having some, you know, pre-grilled chicken, which you can do on the sheet pan we talked about, or in the skillet, or you can do a dozen chicken breasts on the grill and then portion them out into containers and then have them either as a snack or as something that you're going to add to your family members' meals. Steak is also a good option, good high quality protein. Cooking that in, you know, batch as well, because you can have steak and eggs, you can have steak sandwich, you can also have steak for dinner, and then having some of those other, you know, vegetables that you cut up in advance. And then the black beans or garbanzo beans, I always recommend having some sort of additional fiber item, or just quick grab and go plant-based option too for some people who are plant-based. I want to serve both plant and animal based diets here. So black beans, chickpeas, pinto beans, those are also really low cost, high quality items for people that want to save money, because you don't even need to cook the beans. You can actually just strain them, you can rinse them, and then you can, you know, put them in the fridge, and then you can portion those into salads. You could add that to, you know, a grilled chicken pita with veggies, or you can just legitimately do, you know, your beans and also a sandwich as well. I just recommend that, obviously we want to try and pair the whole grain bread also with the beans for it to be truly complete. So however you want to go about that, but those are very low cost, really simple staples too, to add in more protein, more fiber, also more nutrients. And you can literally just put a tablespoon and adds a little bit more flavor, a little bit more crunch to things. So I think this is probably the most prevalent slide for most people, is seeing, more about that batch cooking. So here's what I talked about with your vegetables, your fruits, your hard-boiled eggs, dicing all these things up. This is sweet potato in the top right-hand corner. And I recommend this because you create a salad bar out of your fridge so that you have options. So if you don't feel like eating something, then you have ideas. There's nothing worse than on the left, which is really great here, right? Individualized portion meals. But I do have a lot of clients that are like, I made that, but I'm really sick of eating that. So that's why I recommend here on the right, you have options. So if you don't feel like eating that meal, and keep in mind leftovers stay good or fresh for 3 to 4 days after. So there's options for both people. Some people are like rigid where I need to eat the same thing all week long. That's great. If that works well for you, fantastic. But on the right here, I think most people would probably identify with, I like having options. So this is more of the batch cooking here on the right. And then you can obviously portion it to look like this on the left. So that's a good idea. And obviously your hummus, any type of string cheeses, your grab and go protein shakes, protein bars. I'm not going to talk a lot about protein bars tonight just because we're thinking more whole foods, right, with our meal prep. Obviously, RX bars, you can do any type of, good quality protein bar, the Go Macro bars. I have a lot of stuff on my Instagram if you want to learn more about that. But I would recommend those are supplements to fill the gaps. Does anyone have any questions? I had heard somebody talking. I just want to make sure. Shane, questions from you? Walter, anyone? Diane, good. April's with us, great. Is the information we're talking about helpful right now? Any nods? Shane, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Talking about your mason jar.
Yeah, I have everything. I forgot about.
It's you. You're up, Shane. I want to make sure I give you the floor.
I was gonna say, everything I've got about 3 or 4 pages already jotted down, so
Oh, great.
Everything's good.
Okay, good. I know I give a lot of information. I really get excited because I want to help people. So healthy convenience, the Kodiak cakes, they make a waffle, they make muffin cups, they make oatmeal cups too. They are a little bit more expensive though. So sticking to a budget, it's going to be better to do mass production with the, the protein oats that I talked about, the Greek yogurt parfaits. That's really going to be a better idea. But these waffles are a lot of my teen athletes, collegiate athletes, even adults' favorites. You can throw some peanut butter on there. Great grab and go option. Again, with the hard boiled eggs, because it's all about the pairings, pairing a protein with some sort of produce or whole grain. We always do protein and carb because we want to balance out our blood sugar levels. And that's what supports our focus, our concentration, and decreasing fatigue throughout the day. And this is not just applicable to athletes, right? When we don't, as adults too, when we don't eat for several hours and then we introduce, whether it be a carb or a protein or a fat, we do release insulin, right? So we want to try and avoid this roller coaster. So that's why I recommend that people consume, some sort of meal or snack, a good pairing, right, of protein and produce or protein and carbohydrate every 2 to 3 hours. More options. So that, again, this grab and go mason jar oat, this one is banana, protein powder, and then the oatmeal. Very low cost. I think I costed these out. They literally per serving, like the entire mason jar, they're going to be about $1.85, which again is really amazing. $1.85 with all those ingredients. And again, I have the protein powder factored in there. So if you don't use the protein powder and you do just Greek yogurt, that's going to make it less than $1, which you really can't beat that. So mason jars, a dozen mason jars. At Walmart, on Amazon, you can get those for $7. They're very cheap. They have different sizes. I recommend getting large and small. So they come in like either 8 ounces or 16 ounces or 4 ounces. If you have a family, I highly recommend variety because then you can, do your your mason jar oats, but then Greek yogurt. You can also do tacos in the mason jars too. So that's another cool recipe. These Jimmy Dean Delights are really great, very popular amongst my teen athletes because they don't like to cook. Here's something too.
Andy,
Oh, yes.
hey, can I ask you one quick question?
Yeah.
The Jimmy Dean's English muffins, on the ingredient label, and this may be something trivial, they've got like high fructose corn syrup, and I've always been told, I guess, ever since I was in high school, that's not like something you want in your body. I mean, is that just something trivial on like those Jimmy Dean? Because I love those things; they're amazing.
Yeah, so this is a very much, it depends. So you can ask another dietitian, they'll answer differently, but I'm an all foods fit dietitian. I'm not saying, and as people know, I promote a lot of whole foods and eating well. I don't demonize high fructose corn syrup in excess. Absolutely, it would be concerning. But high fructose corn syrup, basically what happens is it bypasses one of the steps in the liver. So people can demonize it all they want, but it becomes problematic in people who have poorly controlled diabetes, and for those that consume a very highly processed diet. So if you are someone who's healthy, you're active, consuming minimal amounts of artificial sweeteners, high fructose corn syrup, again in small amounts, is not going to hurt you. Okay, so it's a fair question though, but yes, it's kind of like, the whole correlation with, processed foods and seed oils. Certain ones are getting demonized right now that cause inflammation. So just so everybody knows too, it's all about context. And that's why it's so important that you eat 85% of your diet contains fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, foods that are not fried, foods that are not highly processed. But there's high fructose corn syrup and ketchup. And I have some of my healthiest adults that consume ketchup every single day, and they don't have metabolic disease. They don't have cardiovascular disease. They aren't, diabetic. It's okay. So just getting on a tangent there. Great. It's a great question though, in small amounts. So smoothie bags too. This is something that I really recommend. Other dietitians may say differently, but I'm a huge fan of doing my 6-gallon freezer bag frozen vegetables and fruits, and then my protein powder, chia seeds. And then you can just dump it right into the blender out of the gallon freezer bag. And then you can blend it up and you have a smoothie to go. Or you can do the fruit and veggie cubes here on the right, which is what you see on the slide. This is really popular amongst my teens, 7-year-olds who don't like vegetables. This is how you sneak in the veggies. You blend up the spinach with the berries, with the yogurt. You don't have to use protein powder, that's optional, but you put it together and then it can make these really amazing smoothie cubes. And then you take the smoothie cubes and you use that instead of ice cubes, and you're getting in more nutrition. You can also, again, blend in that milk in there too. So great way to sneak in more nutrition for any picky eater. And there's plenty of adults too that struggle to eat veggies. This is a great vehicle to do so. So same thing with some of the trail mixes. That's kind of similar to the question that Shane had about high fructose corn syrup. I don't love dried fruit. It's not my favorite because it's stripped of all of its nutrients and it's just sugar, but it has a place for context. If you're an athlete, you're someone that's active, a grab and go option for quick fuel is going to be dried fruit because it's just sugar, right? It's giving you the glucose that both your muscle and brain need. So if you do want to do a healthy trail mix, you can choose to use the dried fruit if you wish, or you can skip the dried fruit and you can do unsalted nuts and seeds. And sunflower seeds are really great, pistachios, almonds, cashews, and you can put those in little baggies. So if you go to Costco or any grocery store, Aldi, Walmart, you can buy the big containers of cashews, again, dates, almonds. I have the recipe on my website, but whatever your pickings are, I know some people have nut allergies or sensitivities, highly recommend just buying these items in bulk and then portioning out a tablespoon of each ingredient and putting it in the baggie, maybe even pairing it with some of those string cheeses, an apple, hard-boiled eggs, or even doing the peanut butter protein bite. However you wish to do it, but this is a very good way to save money. I think I've had some of my parents tell me they saved about $18 doing this instead of buying the individual pre-portioned nut packets that are available, which if you can afford them, awesome, but I like to save money, so I do this. And sometimes you can even, you know, save your baggies. You can wash them and reuse them. All right, so going over on time, I'm so sorry. So here's some just quick other additional items: the tuna, the ham, we have cottage cheese, buying that in bulk. Those are great. The skillet item, a lot of people are unaware, but these are frozen veggies and they're chicken breasts. So this is something that, again, seems like it's very complicated, but if you cook in batch, again, you can portion this out and have a meal of 4 different servings for yourself or for your family members. So just in summary, real quick, as we're kind of wrapping up, plan out in advance, make your list, right? After you audit your fridge and your pantry, know your schedule, which day you're going to go to the grocery store, and then which day you're going to take a couple of hours to plan everything out, right? Portion it, cook it, or you can also get your groceries delivered, and then you can identify, okay, on Sunday, I'm going to take, you know, the 1.5 hour, and I'm just going to throw everything in the crock pot, or I'm going to make the egg bake. You get to really decide how you want to assimilate and what meals support your goals. Everybody has different goals, but those are the staple meals that I presented tonight: the mason jar oats, the Greek yogurt, the egg bake, the saute of, you know, chicken breast, hard-boiled eggs. Those are staples, in addition to the, you know, legumes, nuts, seeds that a lot of people should be consuming. And real quick, some travel stuff, because people are traveling: jerky, popcorn, as I talked about too, cutting up your vegetables and pairing that with a protein. This is a meal that I take with me when I'm on the go. RX bar. I have my water, of course, because water is important. Make sure you're drinking your water. Nuts and seeds, yogurt, and I have 2 portions in there because I was going to be very busy that day as an adjunct instructor. And again, just some of the other items here. The veggies, this is all on my social media too. I actually made some travel on the go slides and infographics. So those are really important to download. You can share them with your athletes. You can send them to anyone. That is something that I recommend printing out and taking with you to the store, or having on your fridge, so you know what you're kind of mapping out for the week. Road trip snacks. So as you'll see, some repetition here with the Kodiak cakes, the string cheese, hard-boiled eggs, fruit, veggies, super low cost, cottage cheese, also great high quality protein, very cheap, highly recommend. Chocolate milk, really, really recommend just getting these items and having them every single week. Same thing with the rice vegetables, these great value Greek yogurts. These are literally 86 cents. Last time I was at Walmart, they were 86 cents. And then the bell pepper, 50 cents. You can, you know, portion these things out, and you can have a very affordable meal prep for under $100. And I will leave you with some food for thought here. So these are, you know, mass production fruit and veggie cups that I told you are a great idea. Also doing that egg bake and converting it into the muffin tins. So if it's in your home, it's going to go in your mouth. So never go grocery shopping hungry ever. It's the worst idea. Trust me. We all know we come home with things that are not supportive of our goals, and we impulse buy, which isn't always great. But make sure you take that inventory, you make a list, you plan out, and you plan for success. So now I'm going to ask you some questions. What did you find helpful tonight? What's one thing that you're going to apply? What did you learn? What questions do you guys have? You all have the floor.
Hey, Wendy, this is a shopping thing. When you're looking in the meat section, you mentioned the flank steaks. Is it just labeled flank steaks, or is it labeled something else? Because this is something I have been stumped trying to find forever.
Yeah, so that's actually a really great question, Shane. So right now, it's really interesting. Walmart, their meat, when I went there just to look at what they had no steak, they had no tenderloins, they had like no chicken. So like for a lot of the meats, if you're able, I recommend going to your local butcher, because not only are you supporting the farmer, you're getting better quality meat, honestly, and it's going to be a better price. And you can ask them to give you the best type of cut. And they do have flank steak labeled. So you can say, hey, I'm looking for, pound of flank steak or half a pound. And they're going to give you some good flank steak. And even with the store right now too, you want to watch out for bubbled meats, because if it's bubbled, it's been exposed to either some light or not light, heat, oxygen. It's been sitting out. Maybe it didn't get, from the truck to the store or refrigerated. So it's a little scary too. I don't want anyone to get sick. So I always recommend my clients too, like, make sure that when you're picking out your meat, that it's not like bubbled and it's not punctured, because that, would expose it to contamination. It would make you very, very sick. So go to your local butcher to get meats. Yeah, but it will be labeled in the store though too. Flank steak, round steak, good cuts of meat though. You want to, stick with the flank steak. It's really good too, because then you can make fajitas, you can make tacos, you can add it to your eggs.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Diane.
A picture's worth 1,000 words. Thank you so
Hey,
much
Wendy,
for
I have
sharing
a-
the pictures.
Oh, okay, Diane first, and then whoever was just talking after
I
Diane.
said, thank you for sharing the pictures tonight. They're worth 1,000 words. I love all the pictures for ideas.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That really helped.
You're welcome. Thank you for attending. Honestly, y'all are great because it's helpful to have engagement, right? We all learn together, and I'm sure there's some
Yeah.
things that, maybe some of you do that even I can learn from. Did you have a question, Diane?
No, one question. The recipes are all on your website, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I even have a salmon, a sheet pan too for any seafood as well. So if you want to do shrimp, if you want to do tuna, tilapia and cod are a very low cost fish. So if you're looking for fish, like a white fish, that's what I would recommend. And you can swap out any of the recipes I have, like the protein, for the desired protein.
Thank you.
Is that you, Shane, or Walter?
Well, I know you said it the other guy, but so like wild game meat, like venison, would that still be like planning wise an acceptable protein in this regards?
Oh, absolutely. See, that's what's so hard is that with these, it's hard to include everything, but I come from a hunting
Right.
family. So 100%, if you can get wild game, venison, elk, any type of pheasant, like absolutely elk is one of the best. And bison's really good. So highly recommend that. That's going to be much better, like the jerky too. Jerky's a great snack. So if you have venison sticks, 100% recommend them. You do just have to watch out though, with the venison processing, like even my family where we go, they do add a lot of salt because they want to preserve it. So obviously things with a longer shelf life, you have to add in the sodium. So just be mindful of that. But venison is a great high quality meat source. Good question.
Hey, Wendy, question regarding snacks. I teach elementary ed and I'm just,
Elementary Fayed.
yeah, and I'm just tired. And I was looking at your snacks. You had protein and produce and protein and carbs. Like, what's the balance as far as number of grams first?
Yeah, so that's a
Number-
really specific questions. I mean, if you're teaching elementary, what I would recommend is the kids just need some color and they need some protein. So for example, a string cheese paired with an apple or a string cheese paired with cucumbers, that would be a really good option.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I know it seems kind of complex. So for example, to be completely honest, I'm a part of a lot of school meal programs too. So these are actually this picture on the left, this one is not mine. That's a school meals that rock. That's an elementary school. These are, so a serving of fruit is going to be about, depends on the fruit, but about a half a cup. So some apples are very large. That's a couple of servings, but not to get it too tangential. You want to encourage the kids to just have some sort of produce. So when I say produce or color, fruit, but a string cheese with grapes, or you can even do, your cucumber and carrot sticks with some peanut butter, which is a fat, but it contains some protein. When they're that young, I just want them eating something that offers nutrients, right? We don't want to get too picky. It's going to be better than Cheez-Its or goldfish. If they do goldfish, I at least encourage them, hey, can at least pair some ants on a log, or grapes or watermelon. As we go into summer too, you know, fruit is very hydrating for a lot of kids and it offers fiber. So we just want to get them eating more unprocessed foods at that age. That are simple.
Hey, Wendi.
What's that, Shane?
Hey, I was going to ask you one thing, and this is kind of a math question. So based off, like, I can't remember the ratio you've got, it's like 25 grams of protein per meal, like 25. Okay. When you go shopping, do you do math, like trying to figure out how much protein you need to buy for the week? I mean, when you're trying to calculate 25 grams per meal, or is it just, I guess that's kind of what I'm curious. Do you, like, when you plan it out? I mean, how do you compensate for that?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So as a dietitian, I've been studying nutrition since I was 11 years old. So I can look at a food or a portion and I know, but for other people, when they're asking, so for example, it really depends. I would say audit your family. So if you have a family of 4, or you have a family of 6, or you have a family of 2, or you have a family of 1, you really need to identify, all right, how many chicken breasts do I need? How many string cheeses? Like if I'm buying Greek yogurt, you know, 2 tubs of yogurt. So for, you know, example of portions, 3/4 cup of Greek yogurt, depending upon the yogurt, is going to be about 15 to 19 grams of protein. So I wouldn't look at it, Shane, from a how many servings of, you know, protein and doing it that way. I would just recommend, like I said, auditing and bulking up and knowing, all right, I need my meats, I need my canned proteins, as in your chickpeas, garbanzo beans, black beans, your turkey. So probably doing a pound of each meat, but keeping stuff in the freezer. So if you have a crazy week, you have something happen. I've had a lot of clients, unfortunately, lately, things have been happening in their personal life. God willing, though, they had stuff in their pantry or in their freezer that they didn't have to go to that store that week. So it's actually really better if you plan out that you could be stuck in your home for a month, because planning ahead is going to prevent that situation, and you know, you wouldn't have to really figure that out. But I don't know if that really answered your question. That I've never actually been asked that question, so I do find it so interesting. I feel like that might be something I might talk about in an Instagram post. But I do think, just for simplicity, because nutrition is so complicated, doing, Shane, a tub of cottage cheese, a tub of yogurt, a pound of turkey, a pound of chicken, and then all your fruits and vegetables, and then your nuts and seeds, and you're going to be set for at least a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Because to be honest, not everybody understands grams. So like if I recommended to a client, hey, I want you to consume 2 grams per kilogram of body weight of protein per day, they're going to be like, what? So for me as a dietitian, you know, Diane is one of my clients and she knows this, that we've calculated out her specific macros, and I've done that for her. And it's individualized. So I'm happy to do that with anyone else too. I have a Q&A session that you're welcome to invest in as well. And we can walk through numbers and what that specifically looks like per meal with carbohydrates too. One last thing, because you had asked about it. So for kids, right, there is that, you know, 3-to-1 carbohydrate to protein ratio for chocolate milk. Chocolate milk is still the cheapest, best recovery beverage in the market. So chocolate milk offers protein, carbohydrates, electrolytes. So if we're talking, you know, ratios, that's going to be the cheapest one. You can buy chocolate milk True Moo in bulk, portion it out into little cups, buy bananas, buy bagels. You have a fueling station in your school. So for Walter, I have a lot of coaches that do that. They keep things, PB&Js, they have a mini fueling station. It's what we did at the University of Florida. I did it at a D3 school on a limited budget. Everybody should be doing that. If they're not, they're missing out. April, any questions? I'm kind of calling you out. I want to get you involved. Do you have any questions, April? Did you learn anything new?
Not right now. I didn't get to start at the beginning, so I just caught the very tail end. So I can't wait to watch the recap or listen to the recap.
Okay. Well, good. I will absolutely send that to you. And I'll send you guys a copy of the slide deck as well so that you can have it. And just so you know, I have way more infographics and way more information on the website and my Instagram. So I'm open to feedback too. You know, we haven't decided on what the webinar next month is going to be. So Shane, anyone, what would you like to hear about next month? I'm open to feedback.
I would look at.
I don't know, because you do such a good job with all your posts, Facebook and everything. There's lots of things you put out there. It's just people got to take the time to really read it. And I love that the infographics are the things that catch my eye the most.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's really great feedback. I appreciate that. I put my heart and soul because you know, growing up too, you know, and Walter, you work with young kids. We didn't have any nutrition advice or guidance when I was a kid. So I was looking at, you know, Dr. Google when I was 11. So I look at, you know, when I was a kid, what did I miss out on, and what do kids need today, which they just need simple, practical tips. And all of these, you know, items are things that both adults and kids can utilize. We just tend to overcomplicate things when we get older. We think we have to be perfect, but if I can leave you guys with anything, it's just 1% improvement. Control your controllables. You know, what can I do today that can make tomorrow better? And that's why the planning component is so important, in auditing your fridge and your pantry and keeping stuff on hand, buying things when they're on sale. I know it seems kind of weird to buy 3 servings of like steel cut oats or bagels, but if it saves you money in the long run, buy in bulk. It's really important. Okay, well, great. I will get this packaged up and sent out to you all. I so greatly appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for inviting me into your home, and God bless you all. And like I said, I just appreciate the opportunity to connect with you. I love the questions, and I look forward to our next event. Hopefully you can all join us. And if you are willing to leave any feedback on the Nutrition with Wendi Facebook page, or email, you know, hey, I learned this, it was great. Or if you recommend something, please tag us on social media. Supporting this small business is really helpful. And it's because of you guys that we're still in operation today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care and talk soon.
Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.